What's going on, guys? This is Lior with Compass and welcome back to the channel. Now, in this video, what I thought I would do is give you guys a breakdown of some of the most popular areas and neighborhoods I get asked about for people that are looking to move to Boston or within Boston, right? There's obviously just so many different options within the Boston area within about 15 or 20 minutes. So what I thought I'd do is kind of pick out those pockets that you guys tend to ask me the most about and kind of give you guys an overview of those pockets, what can you expect there, the lifestyle, what it feels like, so you guys can get a better sense of where you would want to live within the area. So with that, let's get at it. What's going on, guys? This is Lior with Compass out of Boston and welcome back to the channel. Now, before I get into the video, two super quick things. Number one, guys, if this is your first time on my channel, first of all, welcome. And second of all, make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And number two, if you guys are thinking about doing anything with real estate around the Boston area, right? Whether you thought about buying, selling, investing, whatever it is, I still can't believe just how many of you guys reach out to me literally on a daily basis. So if you've been thinking about doing anything with real estate around the Boston area, hit me up on phone, email, text, Instagram, right? Whatever works for you, and I will definitely help you out. So with that, let's get right into it. And I'm gonna start by kind of going first a little bit outside the city, and then we're gonna kind of work our way into the city. And the first kind of area I thought I would highlight is the Watertown/Waltham area. Now, Watertown, Waltham, both are probably about 20-25 minutes away from downtown, depending on the day time of day you decide to drive. But both are kind of cool areas, right? They both offer pretty good convenience into downtown, but both kind of have a suburby vibe that's a little bit away from the city, right? You have some larger single families in both of those areas that maybe sit on larger lots. You still have some condos as well. So if you're kind of thinking about doing condo options, you can still get some really nice options there. But it's just like the whole general feel. It's not as city-esque, right? It's a little bit more spaced out. You get a little bit more privacy, a little bit less kind of loudness and action than other parts of the city. So they're really good options for those of you guys kind of looking for something maybe a little bit quieter that's still pretty close to the city. But that being said, both still offer good amenities too, right? So if you're looking for those restaurants, the cafes, shopping, bars, both of them still have that. Waltham has Moody Street, which is a really cool strip with restaurants, bars. So if you still want some nightlife, you definitely get that there. Same thing with Watertown. Watertown offers some smaller shops, restaurants, cafes. They do have some bars and pubs as well. You do have access to malls, right? So Watertown in particular, you have the Watertown Mall, you have the Arsenal Yards, which is like the major new development in Watertown that's like a ton of retail and commercial space that has shops and everything else. If you haven't, make sure you check out one of the videos I did about that project. It's really cool. And both offer really good outdoor space. You've got plenty of parks, reservations, access to the Charles River. So again, it's definitely a little bit more suburby, right? A little bit less city vibe, but still you get some nice amenities that can kind of still keep it exciting, if you will. One other note I'll make about those two, I kind of said at the start, both are about 20-25 minutes away from the city. I would say transportation is not as amazing there, right? Waltham has the commuter rail line, which goes into downtown, but commuter rails are kind of a little bit of annoying to deal with if you're doing it on a daily basis. But both offer good bus lines, but otherwise you're kind of really stuck driving for the most part. Most people that live in those areas really use their cars for commuting, whether you're working downtown or anywhere else. So if you're kind of looking for a more like MBTA T-stop kind of deal, this might not necessarily be the place. The next area that a lot of you guys ask me about is, I'll kind of jumble three areas together, is Newton, Brookline, and Brighton. Right, and typically, especially Newton, Brookline, the people that tend to ask me about that are more family oriented, right? Because both Newton and Brookline, as I'm sure you guys probably know, are like insanely well renowned for their school system, right? Both have just incredible school systems that are super well known throughout Mass and even the country. So, you know, especially for those that have kids and want to get into a strong school system, Newton, Brookline are absolutely amazing for that. Both of those cities are kind of pocketed, right? Some of them offer areas that have nice, really large single families spread out on really large lots, or potential townhomes that, again, kind of offer you that suburb vibe. But both of them also have a little bit more urban areas as well. Newton has Newtonville, which is kind of a little bit more dense than the rest of Newton. Again, still very much a suburban vibe there, but you do have some more, you know, you have some more shopping, some more cafes, some more restaurants. West Newton as well, your kind of houses are a little bit tighter and you have a little bit more retail going on. If you're looking for that more, you know, if you're kind of looking for more of that cross suburban city lifestyle, I would say there's the pockets in Brookline and Brighton are probably better for you. Brookline, especially if you're going to areas like Washington Square, Coolidge Corner, or by St. Mary's, right? Once you go to those areas in Brookline, you're really kind of starting to jumble city and suburbs together. You know, those areas that have a lot of apartment buildings and condo buildings. You're starting to get into squares that have a lot more cafes, restaurants, little shops. You also, of course, have the MBTA system going through there, which I'll talk about. Brighton, very similar to those squares of Brookline. Definitely feels a little bit more like the city there with, you know, with larger apartment buildings and condo buildings as well. But again, you're kind of getting that vibe that it's still not super like downtown heavy and it's not like insanely loud. But you know, it definitely feels a little bit more like you're transitioning the city. Things are just a little tighter and there's just a little bit more energy in these pockets. So if maybe you're a younger professional or a younger family and maybe school system isn't as important, Brighton could be a really great location for you. I mean, really a lot of younger people tend to move there, as well as older folks as well. But especially if you're looking for something that's a little quieter, you probably want to avoid going a little too close to Allston. Once you start pushing in the Brighton area towards Allston, that's when it kind of becomes a lot more city-esque and you're pushing into the student area where Boston University is. So if you stick to Brighton, especially closer to the Newton line, you're gonna get that kind of quieter feel. Now, between all these three places, like I said, you still have good options of restaurants, bars, cafes. You have really good shopping, especially Newton Brookline. You have access to the Chestnut Hill Mall, which has a ton over there, shops, restaurants, gyms, shopping. You have plenty of green space and transportation throughout all of these. Transportation convenience throughout all these pockets is actually really good. Newton does have the Green Line going through it, which makes it really convenient to get downtown. It's also a super easy drive to downtown. You can get on Storrow Drive. You can get on the Pike and be there in maybe like 15, maybe 20 minutes max. Brookline, like I said, has the Green Line as well, which is super convenient, even more than the Newton, because it's closer to Boston. Again, if you're driving, same thing. You can probably get in the city within 10-15 minutes, depending which pocket you're coming from. And Brighton also has the Green Line as well. Again, shoot in the city 15-20 minutes or drive 15 minutes or so. So between all these three, if you want that convenience in the city, if you kind of want a little bit more, if you want a little bit more kind of city/suburb mix, these are really good areas to check out for yourself. So the next area I'm going to highlight for you guys as we move now closer to the city is going to be the Cambridge, Somerville, and Jamaica Plain areas. Now, all three of these pockets are super amazing, fun. They all kind of have a lot more of a city vibe to them. Again, you're probably 10-15 minutes away from the city, depending exactly where you're coming from. But they all have much more of a city feel than any of the other areas I've talked about, right? Houses tend to be much closer to each other, smaller lots. You're typically seeing more condo buildings and apartment buildings than any of the other pockets we've talked about so far. All three areas just have really just fun vibes, right? They've all got awesome restaurants, bars, small shops. You see a lot of people walking around there. You know, you've got great combinations between younger professionals, younger family, older folks, you know, mid-sized families, and everything in between, right? You kind of just see everything in these areas. Now, in terms of things to do, they all are very fun places to live. You know, if you're looking for stuff like festivals, like markets, you know, we already talked about cafes, restaurants, bars. They all have that. They have great access to green space, especially Jamaica Plain, really well known for its parks. It's got Jamaica Pond, it's got the Arboretum, a few other parks. And if you want the full details, make sure you check out my JP video. Same thing with Cambridge and Somerville. They both have their own fair share of parks and green spaces. So, you know, if you kind of want that city feel, but don't necessarily want to be right downtown, and you're kind of looking for that kind of more fun energy, you know, these areas are absolutely amazing for that. JP in particular, I would say, is probably a little bit on the hipster side. If you go to JP, you'll kind of get that feeling. It's a lot of independent shops, a lot of, you know, big younger crowd there. That's kind of more, you know, a little bit more hip than other areas. But you'll definitely see that in Cambridge and Somerville as well, just depending exactly where you go. But you also do have pockets that kind of feel like more developed downtown. So for example, Cambridge, especially if you go to East Cambridge / Kendall Square, you'll see some mega development that they've been building there. So they got large commercial buildings with kind of, you know, that sleek new construction. You know, same thing with Somerville, especially if you go towards like Assembly Row, right? That's kind of that was the big development that occurred the last 10 plus years. That's like now a major area of restaurants, shops. You have to have nice like parking, walking trails and everything. So if you they do have that combination of more smaller independent stores, as well as more larger urban developed areas that you might expect in a downtown area. With all three of these areas, they're all super convenient in the city. Cambridge and Somerville, you know, they both have the T stops going through them. Cambridge has the Green Line and Red Line. Somerville has the Red Line, with the Green Line currently being extended as we speak. So super great for commuters, especially if you're commuting downtown or you want to go out downtown. It's really amazing. JP, same thing. It's got the Green Line as well as the Orange Line. So again, for those that want to commute downtown and want to take the TN, these are all phenomenal areas, you know, that just offer a lot of the amenities that you might want from downtown, but are still not exactly in Boston. And finally, the last pocket I thought I would highlight for you guys without actually going into downtown is South Boston and Dorchester. Now, both of these neighborhoods are literally just right outside downtown. South Boston and Dot, I mean, you're probably talking about 5-10 minutes, depending exactly where you're coming from. If you're more south, and Dorchester might take 10-15 minutes to get into the city. But both are super convenient. They're both on the Red Line. So again, for commuters, really amazing spots. You can hop right on the T and get into downtown if you're commuting or just want to go out there. Now, both of these areas too, the other thing that's really cool about them is they're both coastal, right? So especially if you're someone like me that really wants to be close to the ocean, I mean, I need that for myself. You know, they're both right on the ocean. So very easy access if you want to walk on like walkways, right? If you want to go on the beach, stuff like that. Really nice. I live in South Boston and my running route is literally on the beach, so I absolutely love that. Now, both areas really do have a feel of a city, right? I mean, here you've got tons of condos, apartment buildings. You'll see a lot of what we call the triple deckers in Boston. If you guys are from here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is really city living at its finest without actually being, you know, in areas like the Back Bay, South End, North End, like downtown, core downtown, right? You've got, you know, tons of energy here. You got tons of restaurants, bars, cafes, stores, shopping. I mean, basically, it's like it really is city living. You got lots of new development in all of these areas. Lots of new commercial development that's allowed for lots of things to come in. You still also have pretty good park access. I mean, probably not as good as if you were out west towards the suburbs, but still pretty good for being in the city. Like I said, you also have access to the ocean, which is a huge bonus. And in terms of people living here, you will see basically everything in between, right? I mean, you obviously will have a great mix of younger professionals, younger families. You'll see a lot of older folks, even families living here as well. So you really get a nice mix of everything in these pockets. Now, the last thing I'll say is both of these areas, both South Boston and Dorchester, they are pretty pocketed, right? So different neighborhoods within these areas can kind of feel differently. So if you're going to be looking to move into these areas, just make sure you talk to someone that knows these areas, right? Because like I said, different areas kind of have different vibes and different feels. So just be aware of that if you're going to be hunting in these areas. But otherwise, like I said, highly recommend if you're looking for that city feel without being in core downtown Boston. These are awesome areas to check out. Really fun, lots of energy, closer downtown, and, really great amenities overall. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. Hopefully that kind of gives you guys a high level overview of these different areas you can choose to live in around downtown Boston. If you guys obviously have any questions about any of these areas, just as always, make sure to put them below or reach out to me and I will definitely help you out.